All right, we're here for day 3 of the CrossFit Games Masters 65 plus for Dan Senior. Just recapping, this will be the final day. We had 2 tests on this day. So the first 2 days, there was 3 tests each day. So 6 and then 7 and 8 on day 3, which was Thursday. He was going into day 3 in first, I believe, or at least very close to, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was first. I don't feel like mathing right now, but either way, I knew the test 7 and during the Coliseum. So what that is, for time, calories on the ski erg, echo bike, and then 75 double unders, ski erg, C2 bike, and then 75 double unders. So it was a race down the line in the Coliseum, which was, I thought was going to be one of the better workouts for him. All right, he's one of the bigger guys, so he has that power to kind of drive through these machines. The ski erg, he was right up there, probably top 3 getting off the ski erg. Echo bike, same thing, and then the double unders. So this is where I think he excelled for this. And this is something we've practiced quite a bit. And during the semis, there was a workout with shuttle runs, rowing, and jump rope, right? And it was high rep jump rope. And the biggest thing that he excelled at is being tired and stringing together high reps of jump rope, right? So that was the most important part of this workout, I believe. And I think he was best at it out of the whole field, and it showed at the very end. So he got through the double unders. There was a few guys that were fairly close, maybe a little bit faster on the machines, so they were kind of evening out, going back and forth, battling. Back on the ski erg again, I think he got off second or so, and then the C2 bike, he got off second. So this is where it kind of got exciting, right? So the 75 double unders at the end. I was kind of okay with second. I knew if he got first, he could cruise into test 8. If he got second, it would have been a little bit more iffy, and I would have had to do a little bit more math and kind of see. But he was staying in front of Hip and Steel. He was staying in front of Mulbire. So those are John George as well, was doing really well. So they were all right there. And the other guys that were kind of creeping up on this workout were guys towards the bottom of the rankings. So it was actually it was beneficial for him to get that gap in points between these guys. So either way, so 75 double unders, it was Cunningham, I believe, was going for his first test win, right? Onto the double unders first. He was probably 20-30 reps into his double unders already. He was doing he was really tense during his double unders. You could tell he was kind of gassed. He was doing moderate set. Senior grabs his jump rope, does 75 double unders straight through, runs up to the finish line, gets first place. So that was huge. He was either, like, that's what you need to do to get these test wins, right? To get those extra little points that you might not think you need, like a first over a second, like 10 points, what's the big deal? But that extra, it was 5 seconds, right? So Cunningham tripped up, he kept going, sprinted to that finish line and got first over a second. So it was super close. It was an awesome race. I'm sure Cunningham was not pleased that he didn't get that test win, but it was super helpful going into that final test there. It was like at that point, I was kind of okay with him. I'm like, all right, second or third, that's fine. And then he just blew by him. It was probably the most memorable part, especially in the Coliseum, with those dubs. But I knew he was going to crush this workout, just like the pulling power and the farmer's field. Like those 3 workouts were probably the ones where I was like, he's going to win. And he ended up doing that, exactly. Followed the plan, kept with the pace. Oh, that was the other thing. The ski erg, his form on the ski erg was probably the best out of all the other guys. There was a lot of like straight leg, a lot of too fast strokes per minute. Like this is the stuff we go over in practice. So when he's out there on the floor, he knows his pacing, he knows his strokes per minute. Like you have to know this stuff to be able to, you can kind of gauge out when you're going to be done, when, and you're more efficient. You're taxing less as you go through this, so you can end up going into those double unders not as taxed as you would if you were really using too much on the ski erg or on the Echo bike, C2 bike, stuff like that. So that really helped him sticking to that plan and being more efficient on those machines. Being bigger and having that power definitely helps as well, like on the Echo bike. He ended up finishing that in 16:11. 1, 2, 3. There was only 4 guys that finished that workout. Everybody else was capped. I think it was an 18-minute cap, if I remember. But either way, so that put him in a solid position for final positions, test 8. Now, this is 4-time. The original workout was 20 bar muscle ups, 30 alternating dumbbell squat snatches. So when I heard that, I'm like, this is ridiculous. There's no way they're going to have them do squat snatches. And even before that, I was talking to one of the coaches. I'm like, there's going to be muscle ups. And I was thinking maybe a barbell, but I'm like, I think dumbbells. We haven't seen many dumbbells. I think we're going to see dumbbell snatches. And then sure enough, there it is, right? Squat snatches. I'm like, there's no way. They're going to change this. Thankfully, they did, because everybody didn't want to do dumbbell squat snatches. Just mobility-wise, I don't think half of them probably would have been able to do that by test 8. Even if they were fresh, I don't think they would be able to do that. All right, but either way, so it was 10 bar muscle ups and I don't know, 40. I forget the snatches, but it was power snatches alternating, and I think they upped the reps a little bit, which didn't really matter in the end, and it was 50 pounds. All right, so not a ton of weight. At this point, I knew he won. I did the math. If he got last place, he would have tied for first if Hippensteel got first place. And I knew he would, because Hippensteel is good at bar muscle ups. His snatches were all no reps, and I will 100% stand by that. They were all no reps. They would look like complete garbage, but they still gave them to him. And that's a whole nother thing, right? The judging and who gets good reps and who gets bad reps, not a fan. I think Tom Mulbauer should have won this based on reps and how they looked. But what are you going to do? Either way, I knew if he got last, Senior got last place, and Hippensteel got first place, Senior would still win based on event wins. So that you win on the tiebreak. But I didn't want to win on a tiebreak. I wanted him to win straight up, straight out, no questions asked. Bar muscle ups, he got pretty much consistently last week, or the week before the games. He was doing sets of 2, 3, right? But that was semi-fresh, kind of on a deload week, I would say. So I wasn't super ecstatic about this workout, being it was going to be on ESPN, you can have maybe half the field that can get through the 10 bar muscle ups, and then going into dumbbell snatches. It was kind of a race, but not really. So not a fan of putting this as the last workout. Last year's last workout was really fun to watch. It was like a echo bike sprint, box jump overs, like the high boxes, and sandbag cleans. Like, it was a race. It was a good race. This one, I think it could have been, I think it had its place in the week, but I don't think it really worked out as far as like the 65 pluses go. All the other age divisions where they can string together unbroken bar muscle ups, that's fine. The 65 plus women had chest to bar pull ups, but the 65 plus men had the 10 bar muscle ups, which half the field could do them. Let's see, 1, 2, 4 people finished out of 9. Not a very ESPN worthy workout, in my opinion. All right, that being said, senior ended up getting 7th, so he got, I don't know, half the bar muscle ups. But at this point, what was cool is he was just enjoying it. I think at this, I told him, like, you're gonna win, just try not to get last. And there was a few guys that were struggling, so he was just trying to stay above them, which was fine. And that brought him to, at the end of the day, 590 points versus second place 550. So he had some leeway there, but again, I wanted to just, you know, make sure we were there. And that goes back into the 5K, right? So on video 2, day 2, I was talking about the 5K where he got the 7th versus the 8th. And that 10 points, if he was getting that 8th place and he lost those 10 points, this test 8, and he came in last, he might not have had that first place finish, or it would have been more stressful for that test 8 as opposed to the way it ended up. Whereas test 8, he could just kind of cruise through. He's having fun out there, joking with the judge, like, yeah, I was definitely a no rep, I didn't even get over, like, he was just having fun. So if that Helen, that 5K was any different, the Helen, I think, should have been different than the opposite way, whereas he should have been higher up there and would have been a little bit easier throughout the week. But the Helen, the 5K, would have made this test 8 a little bit more stressful for him, definitely for me watching, for everybody else cheering him on. So ended up being exactly how we kind of planned it out, really. Once the tests were announced and we knew everything, like, it really went according to plan, I would say, besides that Helen that I was talking about. Like, just going through the notes that I had on the workouts themselves and where he should end up and how long the workout should take, they were all pretty much spot on. So couldn't have asked for a better week. The group of guys that he was with was really solid. I think everyone had a solid time. Everyone kind of had the same gripes about certain workouts, and again, there's some movement that should just be nixed from these older categories, in my opinion. I don't think it'll take from the tests, and I think they'll still be really good. I just think it'll be, as far as like spectator friendly, just way better, in my opinion. Just to clean that up a little bit. So yeah, he ended up getting first place. I think he was, I don't think he was, I don't know, he was obviously excited, right? First place, that's a huge deal. Last year, when they announced him for 4th place, he was like blown away. He was shocked. He had no idea. But the last workout that he did really well, and it bumped him up a few places. So he was like shocked that he was even close to the podium. And I think that kind of shifted his mindset a little bit coming into this year. He wasn't sure if he'd make it through the competition, but coming into semis, the workouts were really good for him, came in first. After that, I think going to the games, he was like, needs to podium. And again, I would say they worked out for him, but I would also say he doesn't have that many weaknesses. We work his weaknesses quite a bit. The running workouts, we're probably going to need to run quite a bit more. A little bit more consistent with the muscle up stuff. But other than that, I think he's on the right track for all these other movements, and he's kind of a little bit ahead on most stuff to maybe even get him back again. We'll see how it all pans out, see if they start changing stuff or whatever it may be. But either way, that first place, it didn't seem like he was very excited.
Humble.
He was humbled. Yeah, I guess humble is the right word. He was
just happy to be there and happy to be along.
Yeah, happy to be there. All the guys were super cool, and he doesn't need to, showboat or anything. He's humble about it, had fun with it, and I think that was the biggest thing. If you're not having fun while you're there, it's gonna be a miserable, hot week. So you have to have fun. You have to enjoy the workouts that you're doing, or really it's just not even worth it. So that was it. That was the end of day 3. After that, we got to not really enjoy much of the games at all, but it is what it is. A little bit of work, a little bit of fun, and yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.